Ryan Little.
Hi guys, welcome back. In this video we are going to be making the 2003 Maserati Coupe GT just a little bit quieter. How we're going to do that? We are going to put some sound deadening material on the inner fenders or the wheel wells. Basically what I'm going to be using is this product. It's called Boom Mat. So I never used this before. I think it's a lot like rubberized underbody coating, but this one's enhanced for sound deadening, not so much a rust protection product. So in any case, we're going to be removing the inner liners out of the fenders or the wheel wells because I don't really have a lift, obviously, and the Maserati doesn't have like a central jacking point. I'm gonna have to do one wheel at a time, which is gonna be very time consuming, but that's just gonna be the way it's gonna go. So first step is to get the car up in the air and remove the wheels and get the inner liners out. So I got the wheel off and just want to show you what it looks like inside here. So basically the inner fender looks like it's made up of 3 plastic pieces. You got your front shroud here, and then you got a larger one that goes over the top and around the back side of the car. So it looks like this one overlaps that one, so this has to be the first one to go out. And it also has a little access panel. That's for you when you have to change the bulbs on your headlights. That's like a little access panel. Yes, you have to remove the wheels to change the bulbs on these cars. So what I'm going to do is just going to start working my way, removing all these little fasteners, all these little screws. Looks like they're all metal fasteners, which is good because I hate dealing with those little plastic clips. And then I'll move on to the rear section and get these components out. Alright, it is hot today. Anyway, got the pieces out. So the plastic that they use is a very hard plastic. I think it's some sort of styrene. I don't think it's ABS, but usually when you come across inner fenders like this, they're very flexible, softer, like rubberized plastics. These seem to be very hard. Actually, this might actually tell me what it is here. I can't tell. In any case, but you do just have to wiggle it out. There's like a little screw from the swing arm that kind of hits here. It kind of gives you a little bit of trouble. But other than that, it just comes out. This rear piece has a gasket, like a rubberized molding on the edge. This kind of goes on the inside of the fender. That's smart. That's so that there's no hard plastic hitting the actual body to keep the noise level down. But this is a very hard plastic, and I think that's the reason why it makes so much noise. So I just want to explain what prompted me to even do this. I noticed that the later facelifted cars, I think 2005 and up, the inner fenders are a fabric, like a felt-like material, similar to what Mercedes and all the German cars uses. Or at least the high-end cars, because what that does is it acts like a cushion. So when you drive over gravel or sand, the stuff that gets kicked up into the wheel well and gets, you know, swooshed around, when it hits that fabric style material, it's muffled. You don't hear all the little, you know, stones hitting. Now when you got something that's hard plastic like this, you're gonna hear everything. So I noticed this car is very loud, like you can hear all the gravel when you go over sand, or a freshly paved road is a good example. So that's what prompted this. And at first I'm like, oh, maybe I could do some sort of flock material with that's like some sort of fabric as well, and that is available, but it's usually designed for the interior of the car, not the exterior. So I wanted something that would work on the exterior. Also, the advantage to the spray-on stuff is you're not really messing with anything from the factory. You're just spraying plastic components. I'm not a big fan of rubberized underbody coating, because although it could protect from corrosion, if there is corrosion, it hides it. So you think your car has no corrosion under there, and you could actually have corrosion in between the layer of underbody, so of undercoat. So I wouldn't recommend using it. I would never use it on the actual metal parts, but I am going to use it on these plastic parts to get them to sound a little bit less noisy. Alright guys, this is just a quick demo. Got some screws. So let's see if that improves after we do the rubberized undercoating. Alright, so I got the parts drying. Instructions say it takes about 20 minutes to dry to the touch, and it also says you could paint over this, but you gotta wait about 6 hours for it to truly cure before you paint it. Obviously I'm not painting it, I'm going to leave it black, and now you can see it does leave kind of a coarse texture on it. One thing the instructions don't tell you is how heavy a coat you should apply. I didn't want to put too heavy of a coat, so I just made sure everything was covered. And also on some of the parts I went on the edges too, because some of those edges might contact the body, so I wanted to make sure that the material was there to try to deaden any kind of vibrations or anything like that. Here's a larger piece. This is the one I did first, and you could see it's already starting to dry. It's a very hot sunny day, so I'm hoping these will dry very quickly. And there's my little access panel. So you can see it's going to be time consuming for me because I have to do one wheel well at a time. But I'm not going to drag you through all that. I'm just going to do the one front fender and one rear fender, and that should kind of let you know what you need to know. Alright, let's see if how much of a difference this made. So it's a definite difference. So but also notice that the screws don't bounce around as much. They kind of just fell in, and which I thought might have been the other way around with the rubberized coating, that it would bounce more, but actually it just kept stuff from bouncing, and kind of definitely more muffled. So let's get these back on the car and then move on to the rear. guys, got the rear wheel off, so I could see that the rear is also made up of two pieces, a front and a rear section, and they look like they're about the same size this time. Whereas in the front piece is a lot smaller than the rear piece. Looks like they meet kind of like right above the strut. So, gonna get these off. By the way, I've found that the fasteners are a combination of 7mm and let me just look real quick, see what I'm using. Yeah, so it's 7mm, 8mm, and Phillips. So you're gonna have to have all three tools, because the fasteners are a combination of the three. Although here in the rear it looks like you might be only 8mm and a Phillips. So in any case, as long as you have those three, you should be able to do the whole car. Alright, so at the very top, where the two rear liners, they kind of overlap, and there's a screw that goes through both panels, and it's just a machine screw, Phillips head. This one was stripped out, so I couldn't get it out. Luckily, I had one of these extractor tools. It's basically like a socket that has like sharp teeth, and you could just use it like to drive it out. And I got that out, and I'm going to replace it with the new stainless steel bolt. This is a M5. The one I have is a little bit shorter, but I think it'll still work because this looks like it was a little bit longer than it needed to be anyway. So I'm going to get those washed up, let them dry, and then put another coat of paint on it, of the sound deadening coating. Now, one thing I did notice, the thicker the coat, the better the sound deadening will be. So when I did the first panel, I actually did a second coat off camera, because when I did the nut and bolt test where I was just dropping screws on top of the panel, it didn't really sound that big of a difference. But then when I did a second coat, a bigger difference. And I bet you the thicker you lay that on, the better it'll get. Now, I don't want to overdo it. One of the main reasons is I bought 3 cans of this stuff and almost used one whole can just in the front. So trying to be a little bit conservative. I want to make all 3 cans last for all 4 sides. Another thing is both the front and the rear fender liners have I guess they call it like a rubber molding trim that goes on the outer edge that tucks right underneath the sheet metal fender. I think it creates kind of like a gasket to keep moisture and debris from coming up in there into the underbody of the car. It also acts like a sound deadening, probably like a little bit, so that you don't have hard plastic touching the body. But I did notice the rear is actually in pretty good condition. The front was pretty tattered up. I think it's just because it's probably been removed a few times throughout the life of the car by mechanics to work on maybe the front suspension or God knows what else. So I am gonna see if I could find that and down the line replace that. I don't think it's something too fancy. I bet you that's like a stock profile and you don't have to actually get it from Maserati. But again, let's get this rear section painted up and mounted back on the car. Alright guys, that's it for this video. I'm going to spare you having to go through the other side. I mean, it's just going to be more of the same. So, a couple of takeaways. Do not try to spray this stuff indoors. It's the fumes are pretty strong. It smells like burnt rubber or tar. Also, the biggest takeaway from this is something really for the pre-facelift cars. If you already have the liners with the felt material, you're just wasting your time. That's really what all of these cars should have had from the get-go, but unfortunately that was something they did on the refresh. So if you have like a 2005, I could be wrong about this, but I think it's 2005 and later, but it might be 2006, I'm not so sure, that they went to the having the inner fenders out of that felt material. And that's one other option that you can do is, if you could find those parts from a newer car that's being torn down for parts, is to get those inner fenders from those cars. To me, I don't think it's worth the cost. I mean, I think these I think this product cost about 20 bucks a can. So for 60 bucks and some elbow grease, you could kind of get something that's pretty damn close without all the extra cost. So hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please like and subscribe, and don't forget to hit the bell, and see you guys next time. Thanks for watching.